What's your save count up to now?
I mean, it's getting up there.
It's got to be at least 5 or 6.
At least.
You get close to double digits. Episode saved by Illogic. Damn. I was ready, man. As you can see, there'd be a lot on my mind sometimes.
Yeah,
so
I feel you.
I appreciate you not allowing me to lose an episode.
Word.
From not hitting the goddamn record button. Super duty tough work.
We here.
We made it, man.
Yeah.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, I'm here, man. I made it.
Salary life, huh?
That real life, man.
Ooh, had you off schedule like a motherfucker, man. But,
this week it's been pretty heavy.
Really?
A lot of work.
Damn.
A lot of work.
They getting that salary out of you?
Yeah, man. Like, this is one of the first jobs I feel like I'm getting paid what I'm worth. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's why you paying me what you paying me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why the bag is like that.
Yeah. That's a real feeling. Because you accountable.
Right.
Like a motherfucker.
Hell yeah. Shit, I got work I got to do tomorrow from home.
Homework.
Yeah.
See?
I know. I got work I got to do tomorrow because shit didn't get resolved today. So.
I know that feeling. That's a salary life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely real. It's definitely real.
Man, well, glad you can make it.
Yeah, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I am here. I am here.
The most infamous podcast on planet Earth. Super Duty Tough Work. We gotta thank everybody for the positive feedback on the album reviews podcast.
Yeah.
We didn't have no haters
on
our neck, man.
Yeah, nobody. I mean, because it ain't like we shit on stuff. We gave honest opinions that probably most people was like, yeah, that is right.
Yeah,
that is right.
There was a cat on YouTube who said that. He was like, "Friend, thank you for articulating what I could never articulate about Rhapsody." He's like, there's just something missing. He said, but you totally described exactly what it is. You know, I think he was talking about just like her lack of dynamics. We talked about, and we wasn't just hating.
Yeah, we wasn't hating.
It was just like, this is why it's 2.5 dialogues.
Right.
This is why it's 3.
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody who dug that episode, man. I think we can bring that franchise back.
Yeah, most definitely.
It might not be as often because how often do that many good records that we would listen to come out in a 2-week span? It's rare. Like, it was literally 2 weeks, all of that shit apart.
Yeah, it's rare. We might have to, if we do it, and it's not a lot of good records, we might have to just review.
Joints.
You know what I'm saying? Go to the classics or, like
controversial albums. It would be funny if we did like albums we thought were dope but are not.
Right. Thought should be dope.
Yeah. Or just like first listen, you're like, this is crazy.
And then second listen, you're like, eh.
And then every listen it gets
worse. It gets worse. Yeah, that would be dope.
Because there's quite a few of those I think we could talk about.
Oh yeah, some one listen bangers in there.
Yeah.
Then they lose.
I wanted to like this.
Yeah.
It didn't take it there.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're talking about learning new things. And this conversation is something that's kind of been on my mind since, this is like officially my first week of trying to learn how to play the drums. And, they say you got to get 2 weeks in to really learn, to build a habit, right? So I'm not at 2 weeks yet, but I'm deep enough to where I've got some observations and I've learned some things. So, but this kind of inspired, us to want to talk about just like learning new things. As y'all know, we're older cats and we keep learning though.
Right.
And we document our learning on here, from you learning production to going back to school to me picking up drums to me making a film. All of this stuff is like stuff that people our age typically don't do.
Right.
Once you get to 40, it's like,
I'm just doing what I do.
That's it. No change.
This is where I've been. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going nowhere else.
I don't want no surprises.
Right.
You get 40, it's like, oh, no, we're not changing up shit, fam.
Right.
You getting what you've been getting.
Right.
But, we still have, I guess, that childlike thing inside of us that makes us want to discover and learn more things. So this episode is about, old dogs and new tricks. And we want to talk about like how you can learn new things, what stops people from learning new things as they get older, how you can change that. And then we want to use, we're going to get a little bit into detail about, the drums and some observations I've made and trying to pick that up as an older cat. And we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
We got you stuck off the realness, the most infamous, you heard of us. Official podcast murderers, the show comes equipped with viewpoints to share. Grown man ideas for all those who care and wanna grow, so go ahead and download. Every single week with a brand new episode. You're not alone in this world, cousin, so we share information and honest discussion and keep repping the culture like we supposed to. They spread gossip, but they never come close to. I can hear it inside their tone. They talk about the industry, but never left their home. You get laced up with bullet points and such, plus empowering topics that they never would touch. You can put your whole network against the team, but Super Duty Tough Work's the MVP. Most valuable podcast on MP3. Priceless info, but all of it's free. So take these words home and think them through. Super Duty Tough Work is coming at you. You are now listening to Super Duty Tough Work with your host, Blueprint. Raw and uncut. Adult conversations. No shucking, no jiving, and no bullshit.
All right, folks, Super Duty Tough Work. We're back talking about old dogs and new tricks. And, this conversation, I hope, inspires every age range of this podcast, because if you're young, I hope you listen to this and know that learning is something that, is not restricted to youth.
Right.
And if you're older, I hope that you hear the same thing and know that being older is no restriction to continue learning, right?
Or an excuse.
No excuse, exactly, because we got them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are just reasons,
right?
When you get older,
right?
But
responsibilities,
kids, mountains,
job,
you can't move,
right? Yeah,
but you cannot let that stop you from learning. Mm-hmm. And so, this episode, I want to read a couple things first about people who have had success in their later years, and I've got a couple things I want to share with y'all as we get started. So this is from Entrepreneur Magazine, and so I'm going to read about 3 different people. And the first one is about Leo Goodwin from Geico. And it says, Geico, or the government employees insurance company, is now a well-known car insurance brand with well-known advertising figures. But before the gecko, the caveman, or Maxwell, Geico was the idea of Leo Goodwin. Working as an accountant in San Antonio, Texas in the 1930s, Goodwin realized that insurance needed an overhaul. Why weren't companies dealing with customers directly, saving all the money that traditionally went to brokers? In 1936, at the age of 50, Leo founded Geico in Washington, D.C. In a departure from most businessmen of the day, he worked closely with his wife Lillian in running the company. By the end of the year, Geico had 12 people on staff and 3,700 policies in force. Today, Geico employs over 27,000 people and has over 14 million policyholders. Excuse me. Whoa. Okay, number 2, Harlan David Sanders, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Colonel Sanders did not start out as anyone's idea of a successful businessman. He lost his father at an early age, quarreled extensively with his stepfather, and was fired from multiple jobs, even losing his job as a lawyer after a courtroom brawl with his own client.
Wow.
However, he was determined to never give up, and this trait led to his eventual success. While working at a service station in Corbin, Kentucky, Sanders gained local popularity for his delicious chicken recipe. After the Corbin station was destroyed by a fire, Sanders had the location rebuilt as a motel and a 140-seat restaurant. In 1952, at the age of 62, Sanders franchised his Kentucky Fried Chicken for the first time. Today, KFC has over 18,000 outlets in 118 different countries and territories.
Wow.
That's one I didn't even know. I thought he was older, but damn. So I guess he really was gray haired by the time of shit.
Right.
He really does look like the logo. Right. Okay, one more. Robert Noyce Intel. After earning his doctorate in physics from MIT, Robert Noyce sounds like Noyce. It is really spelled like that, N-O-Y-C-E. Robert Noyce found work as a research engineer, eventually ending up at Beckman Instruments. In 1957, he and seven others left Beckman and founded the Fairchild Semiconductor Corporation. While he enjoyed some success there, he eventually left with Gordon Moore. Together, they founded Intel when Noyce was 41. Noyce was considered the visionary of the company and treated staff like family. He declined the lavish benefits that most CEOs received and kept the company less structured and more relaxed. While at Intel, he oversaw the invention of the microprocessor, an innovation that revolutionized computer technology and forms the foundation of the machines we still use today.
Right.
Age 41. I'm going to hit y'all with one more. Musical one. Bill Withers. Bill Withers was born in where's this shit at? Hold on. Bill Withers was born in a small coal mining town in Slab Fork, West Virginia. Withers enlisted in the United States Army at the age of 18 and served for 9 years, during which time he overcame his stutter and became interested in singing and writing songs. He left the Navy in 1965. Using $250 he received from selling his furniture to IBM co-worker Ron Sierra, he relocated to Los Angeles in 1967 to start a musical career. But what's important here is that his first record that had Ain't No Sunshine in Grandma's Hands as a singles didn't come out until he was almost 33 years old. Bill Withers. It also says that he refused to resign from his job because he believed the music industry was a fickle industry.
Yeah.
That's just 4 stories.
Right.
And he was 32. In music terms, that's
that's older.
You know what I mean? To all the people who are entrepreneurs. And the point is this. The point is that there's no expiration on learning.
No.
There's no expiration on when you can actually be successful at something as long as you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And, the one thing you notice about these stories that I read from, the Intel story to the KFC story to the Geico story was that it didn't say these dudes was just hanging out doing nothing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden this idea popped into their head. The one guy was working at a gas station and he started cooking and they're like, oh, his recipe got famous. And he was like, oh, well, cool. He opened a restaurant and that he was moving forward. And I think that's one of the things that is almost like a cheat code to learning as you get older, because as you get older, as we mentioned, shit comes up.
Right.
And some of it is shit you don't have no control over.
Right.
And sometimes all you can do is move forward that day and put in work. And so that brings us to what's going on now. I decided to buy a drum set like 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And the first week I just stared at them because they didn't have all the parts. I didn't have a drum pedal, busted snare head, didn't have a hi-hat at all. I had to buy all that stuff and wait for it in the mail on eBay. And the second week I started picking it up and, I feel like this is the first significant thing I'm really trying to learn in a few years.
Right.
Like filmmaking. I feel like I always had a camera. I was still shooting music videos for you and and small little documentary things and promo pieces. So I always had the camera in my hand while I was learning. But I'd say that probably started around 2013, 2011, 2013 when I started getting serious about filmmaking. And that's still 5 to 7, 8 years ago that I really truly tried to learn something new. Since then, I've just been applying what I know. And it's interesting now to pick up the drums and try to learn it. And that's what we're talking about today. So,
Yeah. So what made you want to learn them in the first place?
I was sampling mad breaks and I was just like, why don't I make my own breaks?
Yeah.
That was the first thing. I was like, man, why is it that I have all these folders of breaks and I have made no attempt, and I could program drums like everybody else.
Right.
I know I got rhythm. Why have I never just considered learning how to play drums good enough to play on my own records at some point?
Because it's crazy that, even if you find a break, it may not be the exact pattern that you want. Yeah. It may not be the exact sound that you want. The snare might not hit exactly how it hits in your head. The bass drum might not hit exactly how it hits in your head.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? Like
they don't know.
They don't know. That roll might not be exactly where it's supposed to be.
You gotta edit it, move it around, and pull it out, and it might not sound the same.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I completely I get that. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I'm taking small steps in learning piano.
Yeah.
Just so I can play certain things because a sample, you're limited to what the sample does.
Yes.
Even if you chop the sample, you're limited to what the sample can give you, the instruments that are in there to an extent.
Yeah.
But if you can play, you can come up with whatever you want.
Right. And at that point, you use the sample as your starting place.
Right.
Not as your finishing.
Right.
But yeah, that was me with the drums. I was like, yo, I saw somebody do it on YouTube. I was just like, yo, this dude was playing a loop, got on the drums, played, simple little pattern with it, but it sounded great.
Right.
And like you're saying, it fit what he was doing, as opposed to searching through hundreds of breaks, trying to find one that fits this musical idea. It's like, yo, dog, this shit is up here already. If I could just learn how to play good enough to do that, I'd be great.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what got me. And then I was like, yo, I think we need new mountains to climb sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, after a while, when you already know what it is you're doing and know where you're going, sometimes you can get complacent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can get complacent in your knowledge.
I felt that.
Because you already know, like, it's nothing for you to chop something up, throw some drums on it. You know what I'm saying? Flip it, bounce it.
It's nothing.
You got a beat. It's nothing.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been doing that since 97.
Yeah. So I get it. I completely get it. I mean, that's me with producing. It's like, okay, I need something to learn.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Me with producing and with the camera too. It's like, I need something else to keep me interested and something else where, I don't feel like writing a rhyme all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like searching down beats from other people all the time so I can record this song that I wrote yesterday to no beat. Now I got to make it fit to this beat that I didn't make. You know what I'm saying? It was too much. So I was like, let me get on the boards and, see what I can come up with.
It's easy to get complacent because of our history.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we have a history of success.
Right.
And that history of success is a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because it's like, oh, yeah, you've been successful. You've done this full time. You've put out records that people like already. You could take your foot off the gas and totally cruise.
And plus, I know enough producers, great producers, where I can make a phone call.
And have beats, have fire in your inbox.
Have flame in my inbox at any given time. So it is easy to get complacent in that.
Yeah.
Where are you finding the time to do this? I mean, I know you, and I know, you know what I'm saying? I know. Where are you finding you're writing a book, you're working on 2 albums, and now you're learning the drums. Like I'm just saying, like, where are you?
But you know what's funny is, like, I thought that at the beginning, like, I don't got time to learn nothing new. I'm gonna just try to get better at what I know. But it was like, I realized that there are pockets of the day where my mind is not really stimulated to do things I'm already doing. So, like, writing to me, like you mentioned working on a book, writing to me is like, okay, well, I usually write in the mornings, early afternoon. I never write at night or in the evening or nothing. So I'm always writing at the beginning of the day when things are fresh and new, ideas are in my head. So I'm like, okay, so I'm not always making beats because, like you said, I mean, you know how much music I finished in the last year.
Right.
Like, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And at that point, I'm like, okay, well, all I got to do is mix this music. What the hell am I going to do outside of that? So, okay, so I can carve out an hour a day, and that's all I've been doing so far. So far, it's just been like, sit down for an hour. If you can commit to 1 hour, and then what I found is, like, as I go, the more so the first day was like, 30, 45 minutes. Then it was like an hour, like an hour. Then it was like hour 15, hour and a half. The other night was like 2 hours, and the time just fucking flies. And now I'm like, but I make the time because I think I saw enough promise in it the first week that made me, okay, because if I didn't see any progress the first week,
they're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Let me sell these motherfuckers.
Right. I'd have sold them. Jay's always like, yo, let me know if you want to sell them, print. Because it's like a vintage set. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yo, let me know, friend. And I was like, yeah, this first week don't go well. I'm selling these joints. But I saw enough promise. And I'm like, let me just make some time and see what happens.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool. What's been the hardest part so far?
The physical aspect.
Yeah.
Playing drums is like,
it's like boxing.
Yeah. It's a sport.
Yeah, it's a sport.
It's a rhythmic sport.
Yeah, it's a rhythmic physical sport.
Yeah. I underestimated, like, the simple things like how strong your ankle and calf is determines how fast you can play the kick drum.
Yeah.
I never even considered that.
Or even how hard you can hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, I'll just sit down and I can play these because I can play with my. Yeah, with your hand, it's easy.
Right.
But can your feet move? Can your foot move that fucking fast?
Right.
No. Like, my foot is mad slow because those muscles have never been used like that since probably I played basketball.
Right.
And so, like, every time you sit down, you have to do these drills that, like, build up your speed, whether that's playing, and then you got to get faster as you go. I'm just now starting to do that, and I'm seeing just like, oh, this hurts. At the end of the practice, like, yo, my leg is tired.
It's exercise.
Yeah, it's exercise, man. I didn't know that. I mean, I can see why you don't see a lot of real fat drummers.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you don't.
I didn't think about that till I got a drum set.
Yeah.
Like, you might see some dudes, they might not be cut, but they're not fat.
Right.
Like, Questlove can't even be fat no more.
Right.
He got skinny.
Right.
He started off kind of fat. He probably was like, yo, this is physically killing me. I can't become a pro and be fat drumming because it's just like that, you know? So that was the hardest part. Just kind of like saying, I mean, nothing is necessarily hard right now because I'm expecting to suck.
Right.
And so I'm expecting it to be hard. Like, I know this is going to be difficult. So I'm just doing all the drills that no one wants to do, like the rudiments. And I'm sitting there playing these annoying patterns that are boring as fuck. It's really boring right now. Just so that last 20 minutes, I could just try to play a break I know.
Right.
And apply that shit that the drill kind of helped build up. But overall, it's not necessarily hard. It's just, I ain't gonna say it's harder than like learning how to make beats or harder than not mentally.
Right.
Physically, it's harder than everything.
So I'm sure you got a new appreciation for guys that play for a band.
Yes, I do.
Play for a whole 2 hours, 3 hours.
Bruh.
Them rock groups.
How? A church drummer.
Houseway.
Yeah. Like how? How are y'all playing this long? You know, the church drummers be playing 10, 20-minute songs.
Yeah.
And they go from slow to doom, 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 doom. How are y'all doing
Keeping
that?
rhythm.
Yeah. Never lose it.
Never lose it.
Yeah, the whole thing has given me appreciation for drums that I don't think I ever would have gotten. Because you can program drums, you appreciate the sound of drums.
Right.
Like, we know great drums when we hear them. But to be able to sit down and get to that level, you don't understand. Like, when we sample a drum break, that shit is like the top 1 to 5% of all drum playing on the planet.
Yeah.
If it's nice enough for us to sample,
Right.
it is the top 1%. So our we're like connoisseurs of the drum sounds already and the rhythm. So like, to want to reach that, like J-Zone has, you know what I'm saying? Like Questlove has, like, where they can play hip hop shit that sounds immediately like you would sample it.
Right.
That's hard to do, bruh.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah.
All right. And now, other than the breaks,
Yeah.
what else do you expect to get out of it? If anything.
I don't know. I just want to build up, you know, what's the word? Enrichment. Enrichment. I want to enrich my mind and my spirit by knowing that I took on this thing that probably no one really expected me to get good at because it's so late in the game, and then fuck around in a year and be able to play decent. And then in 2 years be like, oh shit, he's all right.
Yeah.
And then to be able to like make my music even more a reflection of my vision.
Yeah.
That's really it. If I can play, if in 1 year I can track drums
Right.
on just the beat, that's
Right.
it. And they sound good enough for me to keep, that's a success.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I'll take it in 2 years. But I'm assuming if I practiced 1 to 2 hours a day for 2 years,
Yeah. You'll be there.
I can be there. I still have to study the recording side of it.
Right. That's a whole nother animal.
Yeah, whole nother monster. So, but if I can do that, then that's success to me, man. Just knowing that I did it and that I can sit in the house and do it whenever I fucking want to.
Yeah.
You know, that's it for me.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a break.
Yeah.
All right, be right back. What up, everybody? Blueprint here to let you guys know that all 3 of my books are finally back in stock. That means right here, What a Night. This book is back in stock. It's $10. This is a book about the worst shows of my career. That's 10. Word is Blog Volume 1 is back in stock. That's $10. And also, The Making of the Adventures in Counterculture. This book is about my Adventures in Counterculture album. If you have the album, you love the album, you should have a book too. That's $10. All 3 of these books are back in stock for $10 each, or you can get all 3 of them for just $25 right now on waitlist.net. That's all I got today. Thanks for your support. Peace. the most infamous, informational podcast this side of the Ohio River.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. And we're doing it. We're talking about old dogs learning new tricks.
Yeah.
And this episode is meant to really inspire people to not get set in your ways.
Yeah.
To understand that if you really have a passion for something, there's no time right now, no better time than right now to learn it.
Yeah, you can do whatever. I was watching this video, I think yesterday, about actors who were over the age of 40 before they got their first like hit movie.
Yeah.
And it was 10 of them. Like Samuel L. Jackson was in there. Tommy Lee Jones.
Crazy.
It was like a lot of well-known actors that have acted before.
Yeah.
But they really didn't get their first like joint until they were over the age of 40. Some of them, in their 60s. Like you look at Leslie Nielsen, that was in the Airplane movie. That was his first real hit, but he had been acting since he was like 20 some years old. That didn't come out till he was like in his 50s.
It's crazy.
And that was his first hit. You know what I'm saying? So like it's definitely a rule that deserves to be broken and has been broken by a lot of people.
Yeah. That's dope. That's real dope. So this section, we want to talk about like why people don't do it. Because you may find yourself just paralyzed at the thought of learning something new.
Yeah, learning is
especially if it's something that's like real. Like drums are like a real craft.
Right.
It's not like I'm gonna start reading more.
Right. Yeah, come on. Yeah. You can read.
You can read already. You're right. It's just the degree of which you do it. That shit is like going from 0 to something. So it's a bigger leap. So we want to talk about why older people, and these are reasons that are specific to older folks, because some younger people don't necessarily have these challenges. So the first reason that people don't learn new things is less time or opportunity.
Yeah.
As you know, you're married, 3 kids, career, salary life. You might not actually have the time every day to commit to something like that up front.
Right.
I'm not saying you can't make the time should you decide, but most people, once you get older, as you get older, you typically get more responsibilities.
Right.
Whereas you're younger, you're 20, picking up the drums ain't shit.
Yeah, because you ain't got no other responsibility.
You might not even be paying your rent.
Yeah, you might not have a job. You might just be in school.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So like as you get older, typically it's like the more bills you get in your name, the more time you have that is allocated for that you didn't personally do. So like say you might have to leave here and go pick up the kids. Son's got a goddamn football game. You just can't be like, nah, I'm about to learn this shit and not go to your football game.
That's actual facts. I do got to pick kids up from football games. I do.
So like the time and opportunity thing is very real. But I do think that if you find time, it will take care of itself. I don't think these things necessarily need to be taking over our lives as your main thing. I think with me, I can find an hour because I work from home.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm going to find an hour. I don't have a set time yet. I'm still trying to work that into everything else I got going on. But I think that if it's something we really want to do, the time thing is the first thing we have to address.
Yeah, because I set at least 2 hours a night out of the rest of my day to be down in the basement, listening to samples, making beats, practicing the piano, something related to music, even if I'm recording a song, any of that. Like I make sure that I take at least 2 hours a day. Yeah. Other than Thursdays, because I will come over here. Yeah. So, like to put that time in so I can learn and continue to learn and get better and, hone the craft.
And these are things that you were literally not doing these 5 years ago.
Oh, right.
Like these are all new things.
All new things.
Like Illogic was not making beats 5 years ago.
No, he was not.
He was not.
And he didn't think he had the time to make beats 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah, because I guess if you were to look at things now, you have a more demanding job right now than you did 5 years ago.
Hell yeah, I do.
See?
Yeah.
And you still can carve out that time every day because you make it a priority. People support you. So, that's the first hurdle you got to get to. As you get older, you got to make time and know that as you get into the routine, it becomes easier.
Right.
The first week, 2 weeks, it's going to be hard. Like, okay, I'm going to do this at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Whatever time you make, it's going to be difficult at first because you got so much other shit going on. Maybe you can't get that shit in until an hour before you fall asleep. Yeah. Maybe it's 10 to 11 p.m. Or maybe it's just Saturdays. Maybe Saturday's your day, whatever. you got to make the time and handle that first. So that's the number one reason why people don't learn new stuff. Number two, less hunger.
Yeah.
This is a real one.
This is so real.
Because as you get older, you get more things. You know, you go from couch life to apartment life.
Right.
Then from apartment life to house life. You know, you go from hoopty to nice car to car payment. You like, oh, I'm comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Your clothes look good.
Right.
You know, you're married. You know what I'm saying? There's food in the refrigerator.
Right. All the time.
All the time.
Whatever you want.
Hey.
You have choices.
And that's great.
Yeah.
But that shit makes people not be so concerned with learning new shit.
Yeah, because what I've learned already got me all the shit I got.
Right. The fridge is full off of what I know now.
Right.
Why do I want to shake up shit? And you know, that's a real thing as you get more successful. You know, so like for me, you know, an underlying thing when you're asking like what makes me want to do it is that I know that I could easily fall into a habit of cruising. If I let myself, I could just be falling back like, yeah, I'm just gonna rest on my Lord. I got bangers already.
Yeah.
I got samples.
I can go make beats anytime.
I can eat off this forever.
Right.
But in my heart, I would know that I'm cruising. And I think that would start to impact my art. And so taking on something new for me has been a way to kind of keep myself honest in other ways. And stay hungry. It's like, yeah, you got food in the refrigerator, but are you learning skills that are going to take you to the next level and open up future opportunities? Because it's like you can't count on those opportunities that are there right now being there in 5-10 years.
Right.
You know, it's like that book, Who Moved My Cheese? You know, where the cheese has been there for a while, and it's easy to fall into the habit of going to the same spot and eating. But what happens when it's moved? What is going to lead you to the, you know, you're going to sit there and wait for them to bring more cheese?
Yeah, you're going to go find you some cheese.
Yeah. So, you know, learning new skills is, I guess, metaphorically a way to find new cheese. You know what I mean?
And I think for me, like doing production has also helped me in my other areas of music too, because it's made me want to be better in other areas. It's gotten me, you know, as you learn, you are interacting with different ideas. Yeah. So it opens your mind up to places where it hadn't been before. So which is why I think like after producing my album that I did, I think it's some of my best writing that I've done in a while because I'm doing something new. When I made Celestial Clockwork, when I made the earlier albums, I was in school. So I was learning. I was in the process of learning stuff. So everything that I wrote was based off of something that I had newly learned. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now, because I'm learning, is expanding how I'm thinking about things and, you know, how I write. So it's getting everything better.
That's true. That's dope. That's really dope. So less hunger, you know. Number 3 reason why it's hard for old dogs to learn new tricks is less memory. People don't want to talk about this, but like,
you old,
bruh. As I get older, like think of how many Tinas you know. So every time you meet a new Tina, you already got 2 or 3 Tinas in your neck.
Right. Somebody getting bumped.
I'm sorry, I got too many Katies in my phone already.
Right, somebody getting bumped.
I can't keep no more Sarahs in here, man. Right. So, you know, eventually, you know, your capacity for learning all these names, because like I used to be able to remember everybody from high school's name vividly until I went to college. Right. And then I had like, you know, John's replacing John's. Right. And Juan's replacing Juan's. And all of a sudden it was like, who are you? Then I went to work and then it was like all these names. I got 5 more Roberts now. And now looking at the guy from high school named Robert and I don't even know his name's Robert no more.
Right.
I think the same thing applies to like learning new skills. As you get older, you have all this knowledge already. And you have to kind of move some things around to make space for new skills and to prioritize new things. Because you can't keep recalling all of that old shit. Right. You know, you get older, you're like, oh shit. And then some people are like, man, do I really want to learn new things? I mean, you have to though. You know, you sit in the same place, you're gonna forget shit anyway. You might as well replace it with something more useful.
It's like archiving. You know what I'm saying? It's like your mind automatically archives shit that you don't use as much.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're learning something new, it's like, okay, your mind is like, okay, that algebra that I learned that has nothing to do with anything that I'm doing in my life, get that shit out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like that book that I read that I hated in school, get that shit out of here. I don't need to remember what that's about. Like your mind, I think, does shit like that in order to fill it with new information.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, people don't understand that shit, man. You can't keep everything in there.
Nah.
You know, so it's finite. And so that's number 3. Number 4 reason why it's hard for old dogs to learn new tricks is more risk.
Yeah.
You know, we touched on it earlier. You know, you think about it, when you're 20, 18 to 25, those are the years you're supposed to take risks.
Right.
Those are years you're supposed to be learning new skills, traveling the world, experiencing life, taking as many chances as possible, and exploring as many new things as you can. Typically, as you get older, as we talked about, you get more responsibility because you have a wife and children, because I have other shit. Like certain things we can't take risks on.
Right.
It's like, do I want to take because it's not just for you. Like you can risk when you're by yourself and no one's dependent on you at age 20 or 19, but you can't do the same thing when you're 40.
Yeah.
People look at you like you're crazy. Like you about to bet all of this for a mixtape.
Right.
You about to take our 401k and
put an album out.
Yeah, on SoundCloud. That's what we're doing now. You know what I mean? Start your rap career. It's different now. You know, as you get older, you start thinking not in terms of gain, but in terms of risk. And you start to become risk averse, you know, as you get a little older. And some of that is natural. Some of it is unwarranted. Some of it is like, look, man, I have to trust that I'm doing something that will be fruitful later on, even if it's not necessarily showing itself at that moment, and say, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna take a risk, but it's a calculated risk.
Yeah, the whole thing is about being smart about it.
Yeah,
it's not about just jumping off the cliff and hoping that your parachute open.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's about making sure that you got things in place, so if it doesn't work out, you know what I'm saying, you can still land on your feet.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of just jumping out and saying, fuck everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to freestyle life and see what happens. Nah, you can't do that. I mean, no matter what, no matter if you have a family or not. Yeah. You know, when you get older, life is coming to a head. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you ain't got time to just be out here freestyling when you in your 40s, whether you single or married or whatever. Yeah. You still got to calculate things. You still got to put things in the right perspective.
That's a fact. So that's number 4, more risk. And here's the last one. Reason why it's hard for people to learn new tricks is you have less in common with a new community. Yeah. So like the beauty we have now is like we rap. We can go at our house. Oh, you're Illogic, you rap. Right. We go to hip hop event. That's our crowd. That's our tribe. That's our peoples. Oh yeah, hey, I fuck with you. I got you know. I don't know no drummers like that. Right. The ones I do are former hip hop guys. You know, like I don't be just talking to that community like that. So I think look at even in terms of like people going back to school. A lot of older people don't want to go back to college because they don't want to be the oldest person around people half their age. Right. It's the social aspect that makes them not want to learn new shit. It's like, I can learn the material, but am I ready for the social side of this? Right. I don't got nothing in common with these young whippersnappers or whoever the fuck is. And the same thing, if you learn new skills, you're going to be introduced into a new community of people. And it's natural that you have a little anxiety about that. But the truth is that from what I've seen, people are very kind. Overall, people aren't just like, nah, stay over there, old man. You know, like, I mean, I put out a film, and doing a film actually introduced me to people I never would have met otherwise. Right. And a whole different crowd of filmmakers and people who I never would have had a chance to interact with. And I think the same thing applies to drums or anything else you do.
Yeah, I think this can relate to this one, or it could be a completely separate one, but you have less confidence.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you grow up and you're older, and it's like when you're young, you can conquer the world. You can do whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
you believe you can.
You believe you can do anything. When you get older, you have more realistic view of shit. Like, yo, like drums is hard. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like production is hard. Making a movie is hard. It's not some easy shit. So taking that step, you got to be a brave motherfucker. And you also have to have a lot of confidence in yourself to even take the first step.
Right.
So as you get older, a lot of people don't have a lot of confidence in the fact that they can learn the new shit.
Yes.
Because they are older. All of these reasons that are listed, you know, takes that confidence down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I would add on to that too. Like when you're younger, you haven't really failed. Mm-hmm. When you're older, you understand failure.
Oh yeah. And you don't like it. You're not a fan.
Yeah, nah, you ain't feeling that shit. Nah, I'm too old. I ain't feeling that. I remember what that feel like.
Right.
We're not going there again.
Right.
You know, and because you felt it, you're just like, okay, I've learned a lesson. So not only have you taken risk, you've taken a risk, you failed, and you've learned your lesson from it.
Right.
And so that shit can make a motherfucker not want to hop back in there like that.
Yeah, get your double dutch on.
Like, I ain't get back in there. Nah, bruh.
Yeah.
Rope hit me in the face last time. You know, and that can, whereas when you're young, you're like, you haven't necessarily failed at anything.
It's like, well, whatever, let's do it.
Yeah, that naive thing is beautiful. It
that
makes
YOLO mindset.
Yeah, like, why not? I'll learn. It's nothing.
Right.
And even if it turns into something, you didn't know the severity of it when you got in it when you were young. When you're older, you have full knowledge of how bad it could go. And that's why some people don't do it.
Yeah.
So we'll take a break and we'll be right back. What's up, everybody? The deal we're running today on weightless.net is the 2-Headed Monster CD plus 2-Headed Monster t-shirt for just $20 total. That's the t-shirt and the CD for $20 total. The t-shirt we have in every size. That's small, medium, large, extra large, and 2XL. Every single size, men's sizes, we ship internationally. So you can get the CD and the t-shirt, or I should say CD and the t-shirt for just $20 on weightless.net. Go there right now and support the movement. Thank you. Peace. You know,
word,
old dogs. Couple old dogs talking about new tricks.
Yeah,
that's who we are, man. Yeah, I hope people appreciate that. If once again, as we always say, if you're on SoundCloud, hit us in the comments.
Yeah,
hit us with that heart. You know what I mean? If you're on YouTube, you know, hit us with that like.
Hit that like. You know, comment.
You know, comment. You know, share this, John. It's got the share button for every platform.
Right.
Hit your mans with that. If you on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Hit us with that retweet thing, that RT. You know what I'm saying? And tag your boys. And let us know what you think about this episode. So now this is the last part. We're going to talk about like how to learn new tricks. These are some general things, but I think they're very important, and these should also be specific to people who are getting a little bit older. And if you're younger, you want to keep in mind of these things because they can apply to you too as you get a little older. So the first thing, how to learn new tricks. Number one, commit.
Yeah.
Most of the time I see people who fail at things, I don't truly believe they're committed.
Right.
You know, part of the reason that I shared a video early on was because I wanted it to be real to me.
Right.
And I wanted people to say, oh, he's really about to try this.
Right.
Because if I don't share no videos for 6 months, they might think I gave up.
Yeah.
And so
he on some bullshit.
He gave up.
He quit.
This motherfucker ain't shit.
We ain't heard nothing about drums.
Yeah. Does he still have a set?
Right.
He pretended he wasn't trying to learn them 6 months ago. You know, but I've committed. I committed mentally. It took me the first week to say, okay, I can learn this given, you know, some commitment. Knowing what my work ethic is. Like, okay, I know how I get when I want to learn something. I'll be up till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. And so, but you got to commit mentally. You know, you can't commit the time. You can't commit the energy. You can't commit the money. You might take that as well until you mentally say, I'm doing that shit.
Right.
I'm learning it.
Yeah.
That's number one. All right. Number two, how to learn new tricks. Make a schedule.
Make time.
You know, as we say, you ain't going to get time. You ain't going to find time. You got to make time. And if you don't commit, then you're going to have a hard time learning. And obviously, if you don't commit mentally, then you're not going to commit to carving out a specific time to work on your craft every day. You know, just as Illogic works 5 to 7 on his beats every day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like we work. I mean, well, shit, this is the podcast, a perfect example.
Yeah.
Every Thursday, we know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, Friday nights, I usually edit this joint. Like, okay, Friday night from 4:00 till probably midnight. I'm doing the audio, the video, and then I'm pretty much done by the end of the night, going to sleep. Like, oh, got it, it's done. But I allocate that time so I know I'm not doing nothing else.
Right.
And without that, you're not going to see any progress. Number 3, ignore the skeptics.
That's probably the hardest one, especially when you're older.
Yeah.
Because the skeptics could be people that's close to you. Could be your wife, could be your mom, could be your brother, could be your best friend. Like, bro, like, why you 40 years old?
Why you trying to pick up drums?
Yeah, like, why you trying to do this? Why you trying to learn?
This is a midlife crisis.
Yeah, dog. That is some real shit when you get to that age. When you're trying to learn something new, it's like, you okay? You going through a midlife?
You want to talk to somebody?
Like, yo, come on now. I just want to learn some shit. You know?
Yeah, just want to learn. Like when you're young, people celebrate your childlike curiosity.
Yeah.
You get older, motherfuckers are like,
hold up,
we need to talk.
Slow down, bro.
Everything cool with you,
Pump
man?
your brakes.
Your girlfriend broke up with you, and now you're trying to learn drums.
Are you all right?
You all right? Yeah. You can talk. Hey, I got somebody. I got a shrink. But ignore the skeptics, man. I mean, there's people who've made comments about shit like, oh yeah, you got to do this and improve and that, and they weren't necessarily negative, but they might have been like joking, like not necessarily knowing if I'm serious about it. I try to take that shit in stride, like, okay, it's natural that people will see somebody, especially if you're doing something that they do.
Right.
So if you're like, okay, I'm gonna learn this and I'm gonna get good at it, and then let's say it's, I don't know, from welding. People who've been welding for 20 years are gonna be like,
let's see.
Okay. Yeah, let's see how this pans out, right? They're gonna be looking at you with the side eye a little bit. But that just means it'll just keep you honest. The skeptics are there to keep you like, okay, boom, this is what I have to stay focused on, the end goal. And even if it means you have to look at it like, okay, I'm gonna prove them wrong, that's okay a little bit.
Right.
You obviously do it for yourself, but the skeptics, you have to learn to just acknowledge that they got some slick shit to say and prove them wrong.
Yeah, use that shit as motivation.
Yeah, or just say, fuck y'all, I'm gonna ignore y'all. And so I'm ignoring them when it comes to this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna be like trying to learn, because even if I never can outplay them, they can't fuck with me on the MP.
Right.
They can't program drums better than me.
Right.
They can't chop breaks better than your boy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a demonstrated history. They can't make beats like me, son. This is just icing on the cake. Fuck them. So, so that's number 3. Ignore the skeptics. Number 4, way to learn new tricks. Don't skip the fundamentals. I try to explain this to people in terms of beat making all the time. When they say, how'd you learn Ableton so fast? I say, I didn't learn it fast. I bought the manual, then I bought a couple DVDs, and then I sat in a room and I spent 2 hours on it a night. I would read it, section of the manual. Then I would actually apply all that shit. I did that shit for like 6 to 8 weeks before I made a beat. The same thing when I was learning how to do like there's nothing that I haven't like sat down with for a long time. When I got Reason, it was the same thing. I read the manual. I wanted to learn what I was doing. When I started editing, same thing. I bought a book on Final Cut, and then I sat there for 4 or 5 weeks going through all the fundamentals, just so I could have the jargon and the lingo, and learn the language, and then know when I got in this program, it wasn't going to be completely foreign. Yeah. And I think that has helped me, learn faster. Because most people, it's almost impossible to not try to learn these things by just looking at a quick YouTube tutorial, jumping right in now. But when you do that, you miss a lot of the fundamentals that help you save time later.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand how important a foundation of just knowing the basics of something is.
Yes.
Especially for me, like I didn't necessarily read the manual, but when I would watch a YouTube tutorial, I would work on that specific thing. Yeah. For like a week. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I would watch that video once a night and try to do that, and then try to replicate it the next night and and then move on to something else. Just learning the basics of how to do shit with what I was trying to do. Yes. And I think people underestimate the importance of that.
Oh, totally. And I think it's just, we have the instant gratification thing that goes on now. We want to make a banger and post it so we can get that feedback. Like, bro, you're not ready for that feedback.
Nah, you just got your DAW yesterday.
Come on, man. You don't even know how to count bars.
Right.
Why don't you learn how to count bars first?
Yeah.
You don't know where the snare is supposed to go.
Right.
Like, so you don't need to be sharing this with the world. Learn your fundamentals, man. And it brings me back to like, we used to mock motherfuckers in basketball for that. We had a couple cats who would try to make the team and we'd be like, yo, he ain't got no fundies. We would call it fundies.
Can't even bounce pass.
Right. But dudes could dunk. They could dunk and do all kind of crazy shit.
Right.
We was like, yo, he ain't got no fundies though. And we would clown motherfuckers, man, at basketball. Like, you couldn't do a left hand layup. You couldn't, like you saying, couldn't do a bounce pass. You couldn't do basic shit. Like, you couldn't set a screen, but you could fucking jump from the foul line and pump and do all of that. And you'd be sitting at the end of the bench.
Yeah.
Mad. They'd be like, yo, why don't such and such play? We'd be clowning. He got no fundies, dog. He got no fundamentals.
That's real shit.
You know, and the same thing applies to anything you learn as you get older. Like, embrace the fundamentals. It may be grueling. Trust me. I'm playing rudiments right now. That shit is not fun.
Right.
And but I'm seeing it make a difference already.
Right.
And I think you'll see the same thing as you learn a new craft.
Yeah.
Okay, number five way to learn new tricks. Break it down into small pieces. It's overwhelming learning something new.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you look at the end result.
Right.
Like, I watched Drummer today and I was just like, God damn it.
Like, what am I trying to do this?
Quit.
Right.
It's discouraging.
Right.
You know, but you gotta really break it down. Like, okay, let me just not look at the finished result here.
Yeah, man. It took me a while to like, for a while when I first started making beats, I was not listening to no music. Cause I'd hear a Just Blaze beat and like, fuck this. Like, ain't no way I'm making that shit.
Right, making sound.
Like, damn, dog.
I give up. Never gonna get there.
Right.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's like, on one hand, it's inspiring.
Right.
But it is soul crushing on the other.
Oh,
You're like,
God.
oh, I'm inspired to make. God damn, I'm never gonna be that good.
Right.
This guy's a god. Like, like, what the? No, I'll throw this shit away.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I saw some shit like that today. Like, oh my God, I'm never gonna be, this guy's incredible. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. There's little things I can pick up. And it may take me years and decades to learn, but that's just part of any craft, man. It doesn't mean it's not a worthwhile journey. You know, don't look at it as the final thing. Break it down into small pieces. You know, like with drumming, I found I've got to break it down into, okay, you have your kick. You have to get that good, which is your right leg. You got your snare, your left arm, and then you got your fucking hi-hat. And you got to get these three things good. And if you can work on your dexterity and your hi-hat, and you can work on your hand independence so everything is not doing the same thing at the same time, then you have the building blocks.
Right.
To move to the next stage, which is actually being able to play something good. And so I'm just working on fundamental shit, learning how to kick on the eighth note on time.
Yeah.
Bump, bump, bump. Dog, that shit is hard. Bump, 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 bump,
Yeah.
bump, bump, bump. To keep it up for 4 minutes straight, 5 minutes straight. I was like, I thought it would be easy.
Right.
Minute and a half in, my calf is crying. My ankles is just like, bro, stop.
Yeah.
It's real.
Like, what you doing to
What
us,
you
man?
doing? But doing it on the drum pad is easy because, you know, you sleep. We just do it in one take is all you need to program drums.
Right. Oh, yeah.
On a beat. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I ain't got to do this shit for 5 minutes. I
Right.
just do that. They quantize it for you.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah.
There ain't no quantization when you use your leg. It's
Hell
like,
no.
oh, I have no rhythm. I need to tighten this shit up. My leg is exhausted. So start with the fundamentals. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just going to focus on that. Hopefully within a month, couple months, I can move on to the next thing, whatever that will be. But right now, I know that I need to be grounded in the fundamentals so that when it's time to move to the next thing, I don't have these holes in my game. So that's breaking down the smaller pieces. So number 6, celebrate the small victories.
Yeah.
You can't don't look at it like you gotta be the dopest to be making progress.
Right. I got rhythm.
That's it. That's hey, man. Yo, I played on time.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yo, man, I fucking made the simplest drum roll right quick.
Yep.
It's little things you gotta celebrate, because if you don't celebrate those small victories, you'll get discouraged.
Oh yeah.
And as you get older, you know, we've been successful at other things. As you get older, you'll be comparing it to that.
Yeah.
Man, but we don't know. You've been rapping since you was in the first grade, second grade.
9 years old, man.
Yeah, 9 years old. You was rapping. You know, I've been making beats literally since 96. Like, that's
Long time.
bruh.
Yeah.
Almost 25 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't compare this to that.
But if you do, it's like it might take me 25 years to get as good as I am in that
At this. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's the only way that it makes sense to compare.
Right. And just be ready for the long run.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is. You know, but celebrate along the way so you can have like the encouragement to deal with the day-to-day bullshit that ain't exciting.
Right.
You know. Number 7, have fun.
Yeah, enjoy it. You shouldn't do nothing that you ain't gonna have fun doing.
Yeah. If you older, everything got to be about fun.
Yeah, or else it's like, fuck this.
Yeah. When you was younger, you could justify doing some shit. Oh, I gotta do this.
Right.
It's ugly, but I got. No, you old. You got options.
Yeah.
You literally don't have to learn to make beats.
Right.
I don't have to learn to drum.
Right.
No one gives a fuck if we do or don't. So you gotta have fun with it, man. Like, I'm gonna learn to play some shit that I always wanted to learn to play. And I'm gonna celebrate by myself. I might post 2 seconds of it on my fucking Instagram. Not enough to make me look whack. This is enough to make me look great.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna laugh like, oh, this is great. I might fuck up, but it's the journey is difficult enough learning new things as you get older. So you really gotta have fun with it, man.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the last one, and this is one that I think people sleep on. Way to learn new tricks is document your progress, man. Like in the era of phones and video cameras and all this stuff,
No excuse.
no excuse to not document your shit. Like if you're making beats, you need to not delete beats.
Oh yeah.
Save your first fucking beat through your 1000th beat.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to that first beat every year too.
Whack.
It will be. It'll be terrible. But it will help inspire the hell out of you.
Oh yeah, to see where I came from.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, just 2 years ago I was that whack.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm making progress.
I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do this.
Whereas if you deleted that and you made something whack today, you might just think you're whack.
Right. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm done. Fuck this. Selling all my shit.
Right. It's been 2 years. I'm still making whack beats. You know, but when you go back and you see like, oh, I made a good beat on Monday. Tuesday was fire. Wednesday, Thursday, I sucked. Saturday, I was fire again.
Yeah.
You get to see, oh, this is a journey. I'm just trying to become more consistent, and I'm documenting it though. So now I can look back and see where I'm at. And so to me, I do the same thing. It's like, okay, the first day I was doing something, I took a little bit of video for myself. Second, third day, so I'm trying to maybe do once a week, take a little small video, hopefully the same thing, and kind of compare what I'm seeing to where I can say, oh, you're making progress, which should hopefully help me stay encouraged to keep doing this shit.
Yeah.
And then this podcast also helps document this shit.
Hell yeah.
Maybe we'll do this in a year. Where you at,
Where
Prism?
you at?
You
Where
know what I'm
you-
saying? Can somebody freestyle over this shit yet?
Right.
Are you fire on the drums yet?
Right.
No, but I'm solid. I have rhythm and, And so that's it, man. Old dogs, new tricks.
Dope.
You know, I hope y'all got something out of this episode, man. It's fun for us to share this journey. And if you are, curious about something and you're older, do it.
Do it.
No excuses. Just decide today to pick that shit up and learn something. At a minimum, you'll have some fun with it. And it'll give you some cool distraction from all the other bullshit in life.
Facts.
And so that's it for this week. See y'all next week.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Super Duty Tough Work. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud. Peace.
Shoot, I got styles already that's more complex that nobody know about. I mean, super duty tough work.